Hi, Romperreglas. I wanted to use this video as a way to introduce the concept of decolonization as I understand it on a somatic level. So this is what I call embodied decolonization. And I'll just sort of provide a more formal introduction to decolonization so that we're on the same page there, and then bring it down into the body, okay? So decolonization is a word that's being used frequently right now to describe a process of dismantling the imposition of dominant belief systems and practices, right? And everybody has a slightly different version of what it means. And there is some contention about how it's being used and who's using it, right? So what I want to say firstly and foremost is that I was born into a colonized system. I was born in Puerto Rico. I know it intimately. It's in my bones. It's my deepest knowing. And sometimes I have a hard time really explaining it, and I'll do my best here. So the formal definition of colonization, and I cobbled this together from a number of sources, is the settling and establishment of control over indigenous people of an area for the intentional purpose of destruction, erasure, or assimilation, including the coercive, forceful, and violent imposition of the colonizers' cultural and societal norms, beliefs, behaviors, and practices, including but not limited to sociopolitical structures, economic policies, racial categorization and division, psychological domination, religious conversion, educational indoctrination, and takeover of land. Whew, I can feel that as I say it. Ugh. So from a body perspective, I think of colonization as socialization and conditioning, where there's an imposition of cultural and societal norms, beliefs, behaviors, and practices on a child, right? On an energy body that results in a form of psychological separation from the child's full life force energy and sexual expression, and domination over their emotional and spirit body, right? So let me explain that. From the moment that we're born, we are absorbing systems of oppression around us, absorbing it into our bodies and into our tissues, right? We're born with all of our life force available to us. We are energy beings, and we're ready to be loved and to love. We're wired to receive and be received. But that reality is that we're born into a contracted energy template. And this template that we're born into has historical trauma in it. It has collective trauma. It has you're born into a family with some generational trauma, some contractions and pain, right? So our energy bodies come into these systems, whether it's your family system or the larger system, and it absorbs it, right? Because we don't have a filter when we're babies. So we're absorbing it immediately. This includes like white supremacy. This includes everything. So over the course of growing up, we're not always received, right? That energy that we have when we're born is not always received, is not always welcome. In fact, some of us experience rejection and punishment and insult, right? And this happens, over time, what they call, a death by 1,000 cuts, right? And even the best parents can't mirror their children fully, right? Certainly, I know that my children are going to be going to their therapist and talking about the ways that I hurt them, right? And certainly systems of oppression are not set up to mirror all of your humanity. So to survive, to belong, to be loved, to feel safe, we wear this programming and this conditioning on our bodies, inside of our bodies, much like an ill-fitting suit that we adapt to. Like in our muscles and our cells, we like adjust to this distortion. So in other words, we adopt a false survival-based narrative of ourselves that feels safe to our nervous system because it gets us belonging and gets us love and acceptance, but that creates problems down the line, like depression or anxiety or feelings of disconnection or dissatisfaction, right? So it should come as no surprise to you that the experience of feeling unworthy, not good enough, or too much, or imposter syndrome is practically universal, right? All of us have some version of this. And yet, these are the very belief systems that stop us from truly stepping into our potential, even when there are other choices available to us. Why? Because of the nervous system, right? Because we are like wanting to stay safe, right? And there's a real block to stepping outside of that comfort zone. It lives in our nervous system, and some of these belief systems also live in our subconscious, and we don't even notice how they're limiting what we're trying to create in our lives, right? And when we're not available, when we're not aware of them, they pretty much run the show. The quality and depth of your relationships, your work, and even your finances can be a reflection of that inner reality, the relationship that you have with yourself and what's in your subconscious. So colonialism, right, the socialization and this conditioning disconnects you from your potential. The vast capacity of your mind, right, the potentiality of your mind, the open receptivity that your body is capable of, and the limitless interconnectedness of your spirit, right? That's when I say decolonizing mind, body, and spirit, that's exactly what I mean. So decolonization is the process of remembering, of coming home to your body, to your wholeness, and to recognizing yourself as a force of nature, right? It is about treating your body as boss, right? Following the body, noticing those impulses and going with them, right? Even if you've learned that they're inappropriate, that, it's not right or okay to bring that. So essentially your power, right? When I talk about sexual and spiritual power, all it is your life force energy. It's that energy you came with as a baby, right? Came into the world with. It's how you show up in your truth, in your heart, in your sexual energy, in your magic and as a woman. It's your full humanity, because we are human, we are here, right? We're spiritual beings, and yet it's messy down here, right? We have human bodies with nervous systems that tell us to be safe, that react when we meet certain people or when we're in certain situations, right? Decolonization of mind, body, and spirit, as I practice it and we'll be practicing together, is de-armoring the body through movement, breath, and voice, as well as mindset practices that help you divest from the lies of colonialism, patriarchy, white supremacy, and capitalism. It sounds simple, and in a way it is, but it takes courage to flow with the wisdom of your emotions, to trust intuition, to follow the body, right? And to imagine a new narrative of who you are. It takes courage, right? Because, it can bring up pain. It can bring up grief. As you release old narratives, parts of you die off, right? Relationships can change. You make different choices, right? Your whole perspective on the world changes, and right, so there's more available to you, more of your energy available to you, and right, there's things you're leaving behind, most likely. The best part is that you become aligned with your power as co-creator of your life, right? It's a process of de-armoring, peeling off, and revealing at the same time as you're reclaiming a new truth to flow in through pleasure practices and mindset work. Okay. So for the purpose of this container, Colonialism encompasses race and ethnicity, expression of sexuality, gender norms and behaviors, beliefs and behaviors related to class and money, spiritual connection and practices, relationship to authority and power, which includes parenting practices such as obedience over expression. And in our group coaching calls, I want you to be paying attention to the places in your body that feel contracted, right? When you notice a little bit of a tightness or a place in your body where breath doesn't flow easily into. I want you to notice when you feel shaky, right? Are you clamping down, or are you willing to let that move, right? Notice when you want to cry or scream or express something, right? Notice the impulse of that. And I want you, like, as far as you give yourself permission, I want you to say yes to them. I want you to give yourself permission to say yes to them as much as possible. And, you know, as other people work, you'll be getting that permission to express more. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, please post below or contact me directly in the chat, in the messaging on the app, and we'll clarify whatever is not clear for you. Okay? Thank you for watching, and see you at our calls. Bye.